Recording in progress.
Hi, everybody. It's Warren Burke. I'm the chair of this committee. Let's give it to 7:05 and then we will start the meeting. And I appreciate your attendance. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to just keep this, put it on top of here. Now put it in the drawer. Just in case you miss one of those in the drawer. This one's okay.
It is? Okay. It was just that one looking like.
Hi, everybody. It's Warren Burke. I am the chair of this committee and I want to welcome all of you. This is the Economic Development Committee. We are starting at 7:06, and I call the meeting to order. The first thing I'd like to do is just to introduce those who are here. Let me get that up. All right. So in terms of the committee, our board members are John Beckles, Sylvester Hamilton Gonzalez, and Debbie Timothy. Our residents are Connie Allen, Dale Charles, Craig Clark, Janice Granum, Jerry Kansas, David Turklin, and Tiffany Yard. So let's go around and introduce ourselves and see who's here. So the first person is, are there any committee members here? Let me just see, Dante, G, Jonathan, Mohan, Maxine, Suki. Okay, as of now, we do not have any committee members here. So let's wait another 5 minutes or until 7:10 to see if any more come on, as well as resident members. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello.
My name is Janice Granum. Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Janice. How are you?
Fine.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to say hello to everyone. And I'm glad to be on the committee and find out how I can help everyone to serve our community.
That's terrific. Especially in these, I don't want to say post-COVID, but the remaining COVID days, the economic conditions of small businesses have been very, very decimated. So I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
I can introduce myself. I'm Corinne Allen, one of the resident members. Also want to echo what Janice said, excited to be on the committee and figure out how I can support the community. Thank you.
Excellent. Welcome. And I hope we can give you some answers tonight. So thank you for your attendance. Okay, I think we're going to start. This is an introduction meeting. And I see that in terms of our members, the first thing I'd like to do is welcome everybody and certainly welcome the community. I saw on the participants that Debbie Timothy is here. Debbie is a resident committee member from the board, and she is the past chair of this committee, and it's a pleasure to have you here. Debbie, would you like to say hello and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you guys. I'm Debbie, CB9 member. I was the chair of this Economic Development Committee, last chair. So nice to see everyone and hello.
Thank you, Debbie. Are there any other committee members here from the CB9 board? Okay, so let's first go and introduce Connie. Thank you for checking in. Could you say hello and give us some of your background? Connie Allen.
Certainly. So it's pronounced Corinne first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think we had a typo here. Okay, go ahead.
So I'm Corinne Allen. I work for the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, so NYSERDA. I am actually a fairly new resident of Brooklyn, and I have a background in chemistry and innovation and commercialization. So very excited to be able to support on the local level and see how I can boost economic development here.
That's terrific.
there anything
Thank you so much. Janice? Janice, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm sorry. I'm Janice Granum. I'm a retired educator and longtime member of Community District 9, Community Board 9. Over 35 years as a resident of Community Board 9. Born and bred in Brooklyn, New York, and very familiar with community politics of CB9 and community politics of every, I guess you could say every part of Brooklyn. I'm just again happy to be here and find out how I can help everyone help our community.
Terrific. Thank you so much, and we appreciate your volunteer work.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other community members here or elected official representatives? Okay, so I'm just going to start. Number one, I'm Warren Burke. I've been on Community Board 9 for about, I don't know, 7, 8 years. I'm the first vice chair of the board, and I have been the past chairman of the Economic Development Committee probably 3 or 4 years ago or 5 years ago. And I really welcome everybody here. The major thrust of the Economic Development Committee is really to help our merchants and to develop business within Crown Heights. That includes investments, i.e. Companies coming here, retail merchants who obviously have been decimated over the last year, and as well as any wholesalers, and as important are individual contractors, meaning that the residents who are working as individual businesses and they contract their services to other areas. So we just want to welcome them and as well as support them. In terms of the agenda, the first thing I'd like to do is, I think we do not have members here, enough members here to appoint a vice chair as well as a secretary, unless Debbie, Corinne, or Janice would like to volunteer for any of those positions. The vice chair is essentially a position that will, number one, help implement the programs we'll be talking about. And number two, to fill in when the chair is not here. And the secretary's role is to really record the meetings. So would anybody here be interested in those positions?
I would be happy to help out as vice chair.
Okay, and who is this?
This is Corinne.
Corinne, perfect. Okay. All right, anybody interested in being the secretary?
I would say holding that role, I had to deal with all of those things on my own. So I don't envy anybody that wants to do it.
So Debbie, does that mean you're volunteering?
No, I'm not volunteering for anything. Let's give the other people an opportunity to do it. I've done it all myself, chairing
Yes,
that meeting, so.
Yeah, and I do want to say that Debbie has played a very big role as chair of the Economic Development. And we really want to thank her for that service. As far as secretary goes, we will hold off on that to the next meeting. And I will take the notes for this meeting. Okay, the next thing is, I just want to discuss a project that we've been involved in that is really part of, it's really transgresses a number of committees, health, EDC, which is economic development, as well as sort of EULA. As you all know, the Associated Supermarket has shut down. And through various actions of stakeholders in this community, the Associated will be returning once there's a building built at the location of Nordstrom and Empire, between Empire and Montgomery. So one of the things that became apparent is that there'll be, I don't want to call it a food desert, but there'll be a lack of supply of fresh vegetables as canned goods and groceries. Now, just to set the stage a little, there are 5 stores around in Crown Heights. All of them are still available. I would say that there's a Ideal Supermarket on East New York and Schenectady. There's a food town on, I would say, Franklin Avenue, somewhere around Crown Street. There's Western Beef on Empire Boulevard and Flatbush Avenue. And there's some down on Nordstrom and there's others on Flatbush. So the reality is that for people who have access, they can go to these supermarkets, knowing that there are people who are affected, seniors, people with disabilities, and local residents who do not have transportation. It really created a void. So CB9 is working on it. Our first initiative, and this is with the Borough President's Office and Grow New York, Fresh Grow New York, which is the food market facility that runs the greengrocers around the area. We've been able to establish a green market. First, it will be a farm stand, and that is going to happen on October 22nd, which is this Friday. And it was really great the way this worked. The Borough President's Office contacted Dante, who is the district manager of CB9, and together through Fresh New York or Grow New York, CB9 and the Borough President's Office, this Friday we'll be establishing our first food market. And it is really just terrific. It's going to be located at the old Associated site between Nordstrom and Montgomery. And in addition to that, the food market, the green market, I'm sorry, really only operate through November, December. So this is going to be a trial for a couple of months. We hopefully have a 2 or 3 year commitment, but it's a great thing in terms of providing fresh vegetables to our residents. In addition to that, we've sort of created some sort of synergy. We'll be having a test and trace as well as a vaccination van at this location. It will be on Friday, running from, I believe, 10 a.m. to about 2 or 3 p.m. So if any of the people on this call have stakeholder groups and can disseminate this information, please do. We're currently, this moved pretty fast. We're currently waiting for a flyer. And as soon as that happens, if you want the flyer or you have groups to identify who you want this information sent to, please call or email the district office. Any questions or discussion on that? Okay, and the last part is please go in and support it. So, we're having a soft opening on Friday, and hopefully this is something that we'll have for the next couple of years. I can tell you historically, we've been trying to achieve this for, I would say, like 4 or 5 years. And the stimulus that we finally got heard was the Associated clothing. So we'll move on from that. But it's a great thing, and it's a great accomplishment for our tripod of supporters. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is shop local.
Mr. Chair, I believe that one of the community residents had a question.
Thank you.
Please,
I'm just curious,
please
is this
answer.
like your traditional like farmer's market where it's vendors, like tri-state vendors who are selling at market rate?
Okay, first of all, could you identify yourself, please?
I'm sorry, I'm David. This is actually my first meeting here.
David, welcome. David is a resident member. David, before I answer that, could you give us a little background of
course.
yourself?
I've been in Brooklyn, living in Brooklyn for about 10 years. I think I'm almost always in Crown Heights and a few places. My wife and I just bought a place here, so we are settled down here, had a baby. So we are very much committed to the area. My parents were born and raised here. Moved out to raise a family elsewhere, and the gravitational pull pulled both myself and my sister back.
Terrific.
So yeah, I want, amongst other things, I thought this would be a good way to get involved and keep my ear to the ground, and also see how I could be a constructive part of the community.
That's terrific. I appreciate it. And thank you for applying and being accepted as a resident member. The Grow New York organization has a number of different programs they do. Because of the time frame of this, we all agreed, meaning the Brooklyn President's Office, CB9, as well as Grow New York City, decided that a farm stand concept would be implemented. And I'll describe the different differences. A regular green market has the vendors come down and set up their stalls. The financial part of that is very important. The vendors pay for the market by renting their stalls. Due to the time frame and the urgency, the green market has another program. It's called the Farm Stand Program. And that program, the Grow New York City actually purchases the produce, the fruits and vegetables from the different vendors, and they take possession and they set up a farm stand, and their employees run the farm stand. So knowing that we only had October, November, and maybe parts of December, this was a quick and dirty way to get it established. And our major thrust was, how do we quickly provide these commodities to our residents? So it's going to be a farm stand. In addition to that, they have another program, and where it's a box program, where there is fruit and vegetables boxed up and actually provided to residents at no cost, and we're working on that. It's not being implemented this month. I don't know whether it will be approved or not, and we are not the decision makers here. It is really Grow New York City. So we'll see what happens. So to answer your question, we're getting a farm stand. And I don't know what a farm stand looks like, but let's all go down to Nordstrom and Empire by the Associated and see what it looks like Friday morning. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely.
Terrific.
Mr. Chair,
So
may I add something?
Of course.
Thank you.
By the way, let me introduce Dante Allwine. He is the district manager of CB9.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Pleasure to meet all of you. I just wanted to add on to what Warren was saying. So with the farm stand, individuals who decide to go and buy fruits and vegetables from the farm stand, they're actually able to use cash, SNAP, EBT, PEBT, debit, credit. Let's see. They can also use FMNP checks. Honestly, I don't personally know exactly what that
could
is.
be WIC.
It could be,
WIC.
that's fair. And then they can also use health bucks. So there is a variety of ways that folks in this community can actually purchase these commodities. And if they spend $2 in SNAP EBT or PEBT, they get a bonus of $2 in health bucks. So they save up to $10 per day. So there's a multitude of ways that they can pay for the produce.
Thank you, Dante. Important information.
I-
Any other questions or comments?
Warren, I think the box stuff that you're talking about is
Uh-huh.
usually the box food that you were talking about.
Yes.
How I understand that program works is you have to, they quote a price. So you pay in advance and then you pick up your bag, or I don't know about boxes, but I know it's usually bagged.
Okay.
Whatever the produce is, if it's $15 per bag, whatever the produce is what you get in that bag. So you pay for it ahead and then you pick it up, and that's how it works.
Thank you. Debbie, that's a very important point. That's the fourth program I didn't go over because I don't think it's on the table for these 2 months. But
Right.
Dante,
Yeah, that's short notice, yeah.
but thank you for bringing it up. That will be something for the future.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we were
Hopefully,
talking about that at the last EDC the last EDC group.
excellent.
Yeah.
So
with the,
thank you. Thank you. Dante, do you, in terms of so there's two different things. There's one where you order in advance and you pay X amount of money. And if my memory serves me correct, the box is composed of obviously an abundance of vegetables or fruits that are available at that time of year. Do you have any information on what the plain box program is that we were talking about?
What I can do is, just so I don't spread misinformation, let me give a Google search and then I'll hop back on. And once I have something that's concise, I'll state it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And thank you, Debbie. Okay, any other questions or comments? Actually, I'm using my phone, so it's hard to see. So if Dante can announce it, would be great. Okay, so the next thing we're going to move forward with is Shop Local. As you all know, we've been in this epidemic since April of last year, and it's really been decimating to our businesses. And those businesses go across the board because everything is affected. And, I spoke earlier of the independent contractors that we have in Crown Heights, which is a huge amount. And these are people who do graphic artists, who do websites, who do, what do they call apps, applications, things like that. And they really provide a level of support for businesses. So the whole thing really suffered during that time. In addition, if you take a look at our merchants, there are some merchants who are doing well and some merchants who aren't. For instance, the restaurants having a very hard time. We're aided by a lot of government support from New York City as well as the state. And then we have our merchants who sell clothes, who sell shoes, who sell all the different things, hardware stores. And these people have had a pretty difficult time. So last year, the EPC committee did a very good job working with Pratt Institute as well as the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, but there were certain things they couldn't do, and that was the in-person thing. And that was likely, really affected by the COVID protocols. So a couple of years ago, we did Shop Local, and we did a different Shop Local. And Shop Local is really a holiday event where we promote our merchants. And we promote our merchants from different major arteries, meaning Flatbush, Kingston, Utica. So what I'd like the committee to consider is that we do Shop Local again. We sent you background information on the last Shop Local. It was pretty cool. The only problem with the last Shop Local, it was very, very person intensive. The last Shop Local, we raised money independently. We set up 6 or 7 stations, meaning shop local stations throughout the community for the 2 weekends before the holidays. And on those stations, and it was a collaborative effort, Dale Charles, who's not on, was involved. The EDC was involved. We had some sponsors, and it was really terrific, but it was a huge amount of work. So what we did is we set up tables throughout the different arteries. On those tables, we had maps of the different merchants. We had a motivational thing too, that if you had X amount of punches on those maps, you'd be entered into a raffle, and we had donated raffle prizes. In addition to that, we had a trolley that took people to the different shop local locations. As you saw, if you just look at the pictures, we had a Santa. His name was Dwayne Nicholson. He was the chair of CB9 at that point, and it was pretty successful. Then there was a hiatus, then COVID came, and we need to do something to directly support our merchants. So what we'd like to do, and this is something open for discussion and to be voted on, I'm proposing that we do another shop local. We do it a different way, because the last shop local, I don't know how COVID appropriate is, but what I'm thinking about and what I'd like to propose is to do a pop-up market of our local vendors 2 weeks before the holidays, before Christmas, and to either to select a location in Crown Heights for the committee to go out and recruit vendors. There'd be no charge for their participation. And then to have a pop-up shop, hopefully having 10, 15 vendors that would display their products and sell their products. It can range from hard goods, meaning clothing, shoes, etc., to food and everything else. And we certainly have a rich variety of food in this neighborhood. So that's something that I'd like to propose for tonight. The first thing we have to do is, do we want to do it? So while we can't take a vote tonight, are there any comments on that about doing a pop-up market from the people that are here, including the residents?
This is Corinne, one of the resident members. From initial thoughts, it sounds like a pop-up market is a great way to engage the community and be COVID safe, given it would be outdoors, presumably.
Correct. Great.
That is what I said to that.
Thank you. Any others? David, do you have an opinion?
Not beyond that I like the sound of it.
Okay, well, that's the first step. And Janice, do you have an opinion?
I'm just trying to visualize it. Are you saying that there would be tables set up in a central location or throughout the different venues,
It
stores?
would be in a central location.
Okay, so
Probably the 2 areas that I can think of, and these are just suggestions, is either Lincoln Road, and we can shut down the road for a couple of hours, or someone suggested Parkside Plaza, but we're open to all locations. So if you have suggestions, let us know. So what do you think of the central location versus the dispersed location?
me personally?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that as long as it's a location that will get foot traffic.
Mhm.
So, I mean, because it would be kind of pointless to have a table set up to increase business awareness and participation if it's on a block that's like no one passes.
I
So
agree.
you said Lincoln Road, are you talking like Lincoln Road and Nostrand,
Lincoln Road and Flatbush.
Lincoln Road and Flatbush? That could work.
That could work. And Parkside is, we were just brainstorming about the most foot traffic. So one was Lincoln Road and Flatbush, between Flatbush and Ocean, obviously on the way to the park. And the other suggestion was Parkside Plaza, which is Ocean Avenue and Parkside. So we don't have to decide on this right now, but if everybody thinks about it, gives their suggestions, it would be terrific. Of course, we're open to the most foot traffic, exactly what Janice said. Any other comments or questions?
Well, I think what you need to do is have all the logistics laid out. So, you know, you have a
Yes.
sense as to what you're doing.
That's
Instead
what we're
of,
gonna do.
because time is of the essence here, and
I
you know,
know,
time is not waiting for you or I.
exactly. So the first thing we have to do, and I'm echoing Debbie's thoughts, is number one, to say this is what we're doing. And so far the feedback's been positive. The second question is when to do it. My suggestion is, and excuse me, I just have a tickle. My suggestion is that we do it either 3 weeks or 2 weeks prior to Christmas. Any thoughts on that? We have yes, no's, whatever. Okay, we can hold that. Go ahead.
This is Jonathan. I technically live across Eastern Parkway.
That's
But
all right. We're still interested in what you're saying.
oh yeah, but yeah, I'm in support, like just willing to help out in whatever ways.
That's terrific. Jonathan, could you just send your contact information to the CB9 office?
Sure. Can do.
And I think it's bko9@nyc.gov, but Dante will be able to tell you that better. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
So this is
And then-
Corinne. I have a comment on the timeline. So Christmas is Saturday. So the 2 weekends prior to that would be the 11th and the 18th in December, which are
Correct.
8 weeks from now.
Correct.
I've never done a community pop-up event. I know you said it's all very human intensive and a lot of work goes into it. Do you, based on historical precedent or other event planning, do you think it's worth engaging on 3 different weekends or just 2? Or is that's what you were asking us?
No, go ahead.
Like asking the different community members to, set up a table and be here and dedicate time and staff and personnel for 3 separate weekends versus 2. I do know we have a lot of supply chain problems for this Christmas. So I think moving products that they already have in store or whatever is available at the time, I do think would be really good as opposed to sort of online shopping. So that's those are my questions.
I mean, what you're saying, there's 2 constructive things there. Number one, I would recommend doing it 1 weekend and making it unique. And also the community board volunteers and resident members and board members, we don't have a lot of manpower is the best way to put it. Number 2, I'm not quite sure how much money we can raise, and we'll discuss that. That's on my list. Because this cannot be supported by the community board. The community board could pay for certain things as chair rentals, tent rentals, and water. We can't provide anything else. But we can certainly go out and look for donations. The last time we did Shop Local, we were very fortunate. We raised enough money to cover the cost. The other thing the community board can do is help with the promotion and also help with the manpower. So in order not to overstrain ourselves for year one, and considering we have, today's the 16th, October 16th, November 16th, probably close to 2.5 months. I suggest we do it the closest weekend to the holidays, where people are looking for gifts. We could decide on an exact date, but you're saying it's Saturday. I would say 2 Saturdays before that would be terrific. But there's a lot of things that have to be done there. So how does that sound to you? Hello?
So there's
Um,
one. Go ahead.
Please go ahead, Debbie.
No, I was just about to say that there's one other meeting after this. And then that you're talking about that event. So, I mean, if you don't have a full committee now, I don't know what.
Okay, that's a valid comment. What we will do is poll the committee members, and I have no issue. And in fact, with any event, we just had an extremely successful health fair. About 2 weeks ago, we had over 250 to 300 people there. But as need be, we will call special meetings, as well as have different people working on different areas. So to not alleviate, but help with your concern, I'm going to have the administrative office poll the members and speak to the people who are not here, because if we don't have enough people, we can't do it. So that's the first thing we have to determine. Agreed, Debbie?
Totally agree.
Okay. No, because you're 100% right. So that covers the description, when to do it, and the format and the dates. The next thing is fundraising. I don't know how much this will take in terms of funding. Security would be provided by the 71st precinct. The community board can do the chairs and the tents if we need them. Refreshments and giveaways, that's something that we'll have to raise money for. In the past Shop Local, we had a table and we had Christmas cookies, hot chocolate, candy canes, and all seasonal items. I don't think it will cost that much money. And if any members can think of raising that money, I'm certainly going to be working on it. But I would say our direct cost, I'm just throwing this off, will be under like $2 grand. So we'll see what we can do. But what's important is that the people on this call think about who they could raise money for this. Plus, since we're not charging the merchants, we will ask them if they would provide any donations. For instance, if a restaurant or a food provider wants to give out samples of their food, they're certainly welcome to do it. The last Shop Local, we had a local coffee spot provide hot chocolate, so things like that. So that's something that we'll take a look at. Any comments and questions on that?
I see Suki has her hand raised.
Hello, Suki. Let me introduce Suki.
Hi, Warren.
Suki. Hi, Suki. Suki is a long-term resident member, and this year a member of CB9. And she has a lot of thoughts and expertise on our community activities.
I don't think I have any expertise, but I did have a couple of thoughts. I think Lincoln Road is a really good spot to get foot traffic, but I was wondering whether it's going to be possible to close it because of the bus stop that's there.
Yeah. We discussed this at the Transportation Committee in June when we were discussing open streets. as someone had suggested, to shut Lincoln Road. And the DOT transportation representative said, yes, we can do that. But we'd have to reconfirm that.
Okay, so actually, I was thinking another suggestion, like both Parkside and Lincoln are at the western edge of the community,
Correct?
which is convenient for me, but everybody's always talking about how we forget the eastern half of the community. And so I was gonna suggest another possible location that's more central. There's
We
a,
could do that. I'm open to any location, as you know.
there's a big church, St. Francis of Assisi, between Maple and Lincoln on Nostrand.
Nordstrom. Yeah,
And they have a huge yard, and if they're, if they're willing, that could be a possibility.
okay, I agree. I'll put that in the mix. I just wrote it down. You're right. You see, the one thing is that I think Janice said about foot traffic. So we have to really look at where the foot traffic is, but we'll certainly check that out. It's a great location. Any other comments, Suki?
No, that's it. I have other general thoughts, but that's it on the shop local.
So you're going to help us with it, Suki?
Contact me closer to the date.
Okay.
Holidays are always a busy time.
And the planning. Thank you, Suki. I appreciate that. Okay, the last thing we need to discuss is recruitment of merchants, which is premature at this point. We would have to start doing that in 2 weeks. So if anybody has contacts or merchants who they think would be interested, or we're going to do some canvassing, that's something that will be on the agenda. And that's really for information only right now. Are there any other questions or comments on Shop Local?
Do we have a
This is-
listing of the bid?
Excuse me?
Is there a listing at the office of all the bids, the businesses?
The businesses? No, but I think we can get that from, because we'll pull in the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, as well as I haven't spoken to Dale from Pratt yet. which
Impact
is
Brooklyn,
Impact.
yeah, Impact Brooklyn. I've been trying to reach Dale for a while now, since the last EDC.
Okay, we invited her to the meeting. Let us check it out.
And she,
Uh,
I haven't been able to reach her.
You know, Debbie, you and I are not, how should I say this, unknown to canvassing as we did for, what was it, for voting?
Voting,
With Zelnor, you know?
yeah,
So in the worst case, we'll get together and we'll walk merchant to merchant, with other members of the committee and volunteers. All right,
Warren, this is Corinne. Do you
Hi,
have
Corinne.
a sense of timeline for when we have to make a go, no go decision on Shop
I would say that
Local?
has to be within the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
It has to be fairly quick. And, if not, our other option is to do it for another holiday. But, obviously, the Christmas and Hanukkah, I think, will be past season. Provides a huge percentage of the income for the merchants. That's why we're sort of pushing it. If I have some experience at this, if I don't think we could do it, I'll advise everybody, and then it's up to them. Okay?
I was
Corinne?
also thinking that, since we have quite a bit of restaurants and businesses in, different areas of the community, this can also be something about food, like you would reach out
Yes.
to the different businesses and have them do like a price fix.
Perfect.
And the board would control the tickets.
That could be.
Somebody can buy a ticket for, let's say Allen's Bakery, let's say, some of the
No,
restaurants.
you're 100% right. We could do a food part.
Yeah, so
Great
there's a
idea.
number of ways to do this. It's just that
Great
you have
idea.
to have that time to put it
Like
together.
a taste of Crown Heights.
Exactly.
Excellent.
'Cause the
Sounds good to
parks, they
me.
do that in the parks as well, the
Yeah,
taste.
and
yeah.
look, there are so many good restaurants here, and one of the things that have impressed me is that despite COVID, and we know this from the amount of liquor licenses that we're getting, is that new food places are opening. So that's excellent idea, Debbie. Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? Okay, any old business we'd like to renew? All right, any new business in addition to what we spoke about? All right, so I want to thank everyone for coming.
Mr. Chair, I have a comment.
And who are you, sir?
This is Dante.
Hi, Dante. I was joking. Go ahead.
No, I definitely like Debbie's idea. I definitely think that, with a lot of businesses losing income and just losing resources because of the pandemic, asking for for money might be rather difficult. So if they can, if we do this food fair, I think it's a phenomenal thing. And
I agree. I think Debbie had an excellent idea, and we can combine it. We can have people with tickets who do the food, Taste of Brooklyn, not Brooklyn, I'm being grandiose, Taste of Crown Heights, as well as, just merchants displaying and selling their wares.
And then the last thing I wanted to speak on, jumping back to the fresh food box, Debbie was basically on point, literally on point. So customers pay in advance, 1 week in advance for a pre-assembled box of fresh fruits and vegetables, primarily regional farmers. The program allows for customers to take advantage of cost benefit of buying in a group and enjoying the flexibility of a weekly commitment. So I do remember in our conversations with Grow NYC, it was a system where they visited the Fresh Box location. And that first time they essentially pick whatever they want for the following week. So once they pick up their food 1 week, they essentially place their order for the next week. So it seems like a pretty awesome structure that they have. But again, with the food box, people can pay with cash, debit, credit, EBT, SNAP, Health First cards, Health Bucks, Green Market Bucks, and Fresh Connect coupons. I do know that the Fresh Box, I do remember them discussing this. It's only in person now, but something that they're trying to do is move it to online as well. So there can be both. So that will be something that will definitely be in our conversations as time goes on. If we can do it both ways, then people will be able to come to the office and do it online. There's ways that we'd be able to assist people as we move along with the conversations with Grow NYC. With that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Dante. Dante is our new district manager. He's doing a terrific job, and his office, as well as the leadership of CB9, have really just been looking for ways to benefit the community. And it's so important at this time. I see that Maxine Barnes has a question.
If you wouldn't mind, could we please just spend a little more time revisiting the objectives of this committee? I did not hear clearly the committee's objectives for the fiscal year 21-22.
Okay, what did you hear, Maxine? And then I can add.
Can I finish? I heard something about health and supporting health. I didn't clearly hear it.
No, I never said that.
It seems that most new businesses are certainly in the public safety are requesting applications for wine, beer, and cider bars. I would like to know if the objectives, what specific service, sole proprietorship, new business would you like to encourage in the community?
That's a good question. Thank you. The EDC will promote all existing businesses, meaning retail, wholesale, contractors, whatever, okay, in order to increase, number one, the financial validity of these businesses, as well as creating employment.
Excellent, because it seems that where we're going, we're going to have wine, beer, and cider bars and the bodegas.
Yeah, no, I can,
everywhere.
Maxine, I understand that since you're how should I say, an active member on the public safety, but public safety is really a myopic sample of people who just want beer and liquor and wine licenses.
I understand.
The scope of the EDC is much, much wider.
Yeah, well,
So-
in that wide scope, you still have to have respect for seniors, for children, for
Oh,
family,
yeah,
for
that's
community.
you brought up a great point. Our whole thrust of the green market was for seniors and people with disabilities. So we're 100%. And as far as youth goes, that's the major thing about creating employment in Crown Heights. Whether it's a retail store, a restaurant, a stationery store, hardware store, fast food place, these are all people who employ youth. So I'm in total agreement with what you're saying.
Well, again, I was trying to emphasize this wine, beer, and cider that is.
Right, but that's not our committee's concern.
No, well, it is in a way Economic Development Corporation.
I just told you what it was. Do you have any answers, any
Well,
questions?
you said in
besides-
general, yes, that you would encourage all businesses and you're not solely
Exactly, what do you want me to say?
one-dimensional, encouraging wine, beer, and cider.
I'm
And
not
that's what I
encouraging,
would
no,
like
we're not
to,
encouraging wine, beer,
I
whatever.
would like to say, let us concentrate on other business that are more.
I agree
responsible.
100%.
Okay, and I would also like to suggest Associate Supermarket for your holiday pop-up. That is certainly a well-trafficked area. It has a number.
That's where we're having it.
Not for the fruit stand, if someone is listening. looks
Oh,
like
for the that's a
Dante's,
great
for the
suggestion.
holiday pop-up.
Thank you.
It has large foot traffic, certainly.
You're right.
Ocean Avenue bus. The
You're right.
Empire. Could I finish? The Empire.
No, I'm just
bus.
I'm so excited that you're contributing. It's great.
I always contribute, not that, it's received or
Well,
encouraged.
that's a
Thank
personal
you.
matter. Thank you, Maxine. All right, so is there any
It's not
other
a personal
comments or
matter.
questions?
It's a community matter. Thank you, community.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I think that Suki might have raised her hand.
Suki?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I just wanted to make a general comment about shopping as a member of the public. I think my two biggest purchases during the pandemic were a chest freezer and a bidet. Don't laugh.
Wait, what were those? Chest freezer?
And I know for a lot of people, a really big purchase that they made was a car. And it just highlighted the fact for me that we don't have any appliance stores or car dealerships in our community. You really
Correct.
have to go to South Brooklyn for that. So that's
Correct.
a comment I wanted to make.
Okay, thank you. We do have some used cars in the Utica area, Utica and Clarkson. I don't know of any other. And appliance stores, I don't know, but we're gonna check that out and bring it up again. All right?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Do I
I
have
just
a-
want to make a comment,
Who is this?
Janice.
Hi, Janice.
Hi again. My comment was, where Fat Albert's
Yes,
is on
yes.
Flatbush and between, what is it, Washington?
No, I think
Flatbush?
it's between Lefferts and Empire, right?
Well, it's actually on Flatbush, right next door to Planet Fitness.
Yeah, yeah,
So what used to be Fat Albert's, it looks like there's a store going in there, maybe a
Correct.
discount store or something.
correct.
So they may have, I'm just kind of piggybacking on what Suki
Smart.
said.
Okay.
They may have appliances and things like that. And
And also-
as far as car dealerships in this area, it seems like the move is for bikes.
Yes, and guess what? We have one bike store on Lincoln Road and Flatbush.
Actually two, because there's one down by the hardware store
Where?
not far from the Prospect Cleaners, maybe
Oh, you're talking the one on
Flatbush.
Flatbush and it's a
Yeah.
hardware store and bike
Yeah.
store?
Yeah,
Yep, I know that. I'm a biker, so, yep. Good point.
and I agree with, I think it was Maxine, I don't want to focus too much on the bars and the alcohols, more on the merchants who are really in need of money, people selling
Correct.
clothes and food. I think the bars are doing very good from what I
Yeah,
can
I
see.
agree with you 100%. As I said
Uh,
earlier, that I think the restaurants came out, the ones who survived came out okay. And we have to focus on the regular merchants and service providers.
That is correct. That is
I agree
correct.
100%. But for the purpose of shop local, we certainly do want to recruit some of them because it could be a source of income. So we'll see what happens. Look, I have no predisposition to anything. And I would really appreciate everybody participating and giving their ideas because we're a community. All right, any other questions or comments? All right.
I do have one more question.
Who is this?
Janice again, JG.
Hi, Janice.
For the point of information, now these meetings are going to be held once a month from 7 to 8 o'clock or
Yeah,
what?
7 to 8, however long it takes.
Well, I've been on meetings that took over 4 hours, so we're not looking at that, are we?
I hope not.
Well, I mean, I've been on many meetings that took
Yeah,
that long.
I'm pretty focused. So the only time an extended meeting should happen if it's really a planning working meeting. Is that acceptable to you?
Personally, yes, it is. I
Excellent.
just hope it's acceptable for everyone else, because I don't think anybody's gonna be on the meeting till 11 o'clock.
No, this topic is, we have people with expertise. It's more of a process than decision making. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, okay, I'm fine with that.
Excellent. And I welcome your participation. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Anyone can do it.
Motion to adjourn.
Janet, who is that?
Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie. And Janice, if you don't want to go on for 4 hours, you may want to second. Just joking.
Yes, I'll second it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All against? Any abstentions? All right. Thank you all for your participation. And I'm going to take a look at this information and then we're going to set up another special meeting or we'll decide how we're going to do it to get some sort of quorum and a yes or no. So thank you all. Have a very, very safe week and weekend.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
Good night, good night.
Aye.
Bye-bye.
Good night, thanks.
Right.